None of this makes sense, and it really seems as if they're lying to the American people. You see, while we experience a norm unlike anything that we've seen, we're being told that all of the data is pointing to a strong and resilient economy. That norm is very prevalent whenever we step out the door. Whenever you stop by your local gas station or, whenever you happen to buy your essentials at Walmart, Target, the simple fact of the matter is that we're nowhere near where we want to be from an economic standpoint. However, it looks like the impossible has just been achieved with the latest job report that we're seeing. A report that will ultimately affect how the Federal Reserve thinks about interest rates for the rest of 2024. Check this out.
The latest jobs report was a shocker even for the experts, with double the expected growth in hiring. ABC's Alexis Christophers is here now to break it all down. Good morning, Alexis.
Good morning, Gio. You're right. That blockbuster jobs report even took many Wall Street pros by surprise. The economy added 353,000 jobs in January, twice as many as expected. The unemployment rate held steady at 3.7%. Job gains for November and December were also revised upwards, meaning more jobs were added in those months than previously thought. All this despite higher interest rates. Economists say the hot jobs report throws cold water on the idea of a March interest rate cut from the Federal Reserve. If the Fed makes it cheaper to borrow money too quickly, it risks a run-up in consumer spending on things like homes and cars, and that could spark a rebound in inflation.
Now let me ask you guys, this was indeed a shocker for many, even myself. But let's get to the numbers, shall we? The expectation was set at 185,000 jobs, with 353,000 jobs being recorded. This is a whopping 168,000 extra jobs more than expected. This was seen in professional and business services with 74,000 jobs, healthcare with 70,000 jobs, and retail trade at 45,000 jobs. And let's not forget about the government. The government added 36,000 jobs, followed by social assistance with 30,000 and around 23,000 jobs for manufacturing. But even with all of this, it seems as if President Joe Biden just can't seem to catch a break with a lot of Americans.
Despite the strong jobs report, new polling from NBC News shows that just 36% of registered voters approve of how President Biden has been handling the economy. And when asked who they would trust more to handle the economy, 55% said Donald Trump, compared to 33% who said Biden.
Some experts claim, though, that this is just the start of better things to come for the president and the United States as a whole, while some analysts are actually a little bit apprehensive about the numbers. Some are even saying that it's only going to be revised downwards once people forget about it. Now, the question is, do you believe these numbers? Because these numbers, they're going to influence how the Federal Reserve moves forward with interest rates, especially when we talk about the possible rate cuts for 2024. This means that those cuts, they're probably going to be delayed because, as you guys heard, they don't want to cut too early. They don't want to bring the entire inflation problem back to square one. Now, of course, while the job numbers are getting a very good response from a lot of people, there are other people who are saying that these numbers, they don't tell us the entire story. So a recent survey shows that applying for a job within the last year for unemployed full-time workers, it wasn't much of a cakewalk. Matter of fact, out of 30 job applicants, most of these people only received an average of 4 callbacks or responses, if anything. It also says that 55% of unemployed adults here in the country are getting burned out from searching for a new job. And some are even saying that they're going to quit and stop looking for a job altogether. And so this has a lot of people saying and asking, if the job numbers are so good, then how come they're not getting hired? Why is it so hard to find a job? Now, just to clarify, these are the people that have been recently laid off, meaning most of them have plenty of experience, at least within their respective fields. Now, if we go by these numbers, then it kind of makes it harder to believe that we're being told the full truth about the labor market, which leads me to this next headline that may have contributed to the great number that we were being fed. So it says here that teens are working part-time jobs and are at the highest rate since 2009. 250,000 young teens are now working part-time compared to before the pandemic, with 37% of 16 to 19-year-olds either employed or looking for a job. And so experts are now saying that this could be their way of finding economic stability at this time, especially since they saw just how bad the health crisis affected their families and their own personal finances. Others are arguing that more of them are working because they need to work. They need to help out with the expenses, especially as we haven't actually seen prices cool down to a comfortable level. Many kids now have to help their parents. Some analysts see this as both a good thing and a bad thing. The bad part is that kids need to work at a much younger age, and they feel compelled to help out at home. But this also means that they're learning to be responsible and they're actually contributing at a much younger age as well. But from what I've heard, some think that this is a good sign sign, and it shows that the younger generation understands that they should do their part and they should help out in any way that they can.
It's a timeless rite of passage.
Guess who just got the job at our...
Your first job and that first hard-earned paycheck.
Jeez.
More than 40% of 16 and 17-year-olds have jobs, according to a new national poll of parents with teens. And over half of 18-year-olds are working. Many parents see a positive impact, with the jobs giving their teens the opportunity to learn time and money management, boost self-esteem, and make new friends. But some parents are also worried. For those teens without a job, parents surveyed were concerned about the impacts on grades, sleep, and schedules.
Sometimes, unfortunately, I procrastinate a little bit. I think just to kind of leaving one day in the week where I don't have a packed schedule, that really helps.
Walker now has a plan, and with his mom's support, he's ready for his first day of work.
Get a job that you're interested in. Once you create a relationship with people in the job, it doesn't really become a job. It just becomes fun and scheduled fun.
This is probably a good idea given the fact that we're seeing different markets and sectors in the economy letting people go by the thousands. We're now at a point where expenses are still rising in some areas, especially as supplies run low. Take beef, for example. It's becoming a luxury to even afford steak nowadays for some households. This is because the latest data coming from the U.S. Department of Agriculture's biannual cattle inventory, it shows a 2% drop of cattle herd compared to last year. Now, this is the smallest herd count since 1951, mind you. Now, you might be asking yourself, how does this relate to the economy? But the simple fact of the matter is that ranchers around the country are now culling more cows due to a variety of reasons. One is because of droughts. The other is the surging cost of feed. And the last is directly connected to the elevated interest rates. On average, U.S. retail beef prices are at a record high of $5.21 a pound in the stores. This means that both consumers and farmers are facing bigger challenges because on the one hand, farmers can't lower their prices because it just costs too much to keep their business going, while the other, consumers just can't afford to keep buying food that's beyond their budget.
The Caney Creek Ranch is about halfway between Houston and Dallas, and owner Wesley Radcliffe and his herd are weathering a hot, dry summer. Texas, the nation's top beef-producing state, is in the grips of a drought that's forcing ranchers such as Radcliffe to pick between raising cows or slaughtering them. Radcliffe has already begun to cull, selling 50 animals from his 500-head herd earlier this year.
When the drought first hit, we booked and shipped 50 mama cows. They were older mama cows, and they might have gone and had another baby for us. But rather than wait on them to have another baby, we went on and shipped them to the meat factory.
This is kind of the mixed bag that we're working with here in 2024. But what really matters is what you guys are seeing. So please let me know what you guys are seeing in the economy right now. Now, on my end, I'm gonna do my best to keep you guys informed about the actual data and just what impacts our lives on the real. If you made it this far in the video, definitely drop a like for it. I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing the video. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you on the next one.